Sorry about the delay there, folks, but it looks to me we had an unbelievable amount of people suddenly come on for this course, and we bombed out the server, and we just gone to a new server. So just let us know. Some people should be able to start seeing something on the screen, and just let us know. I did not realize that so many people were interested in watercolor. I'm really flattered. Okay, I can see people from the UK, I can see from Canada, there's from Holland. Somebody can see my bald head. I should pity the model there hasn't got a wig, otherwise I can put it on and make me look a little bit different. If you can't see anything, just do a refreshing at this stage. There we go. Look at that. I think somebody stole the wig, and that's why my head is getting so cold. Bravo from Quebec. You are coming in loud and clear. Lovely, lovely. Good to see that. All systems go. Brian says that. Well, on the line, also I have my sister, Carol from Pretoria. She's on. I say hello also to Terry from Edenvale in South Africa, one of my ex-students and an ex-colleague of mine. There's some of my ex-students also on the line. Welcome to each and every one of you, and those that are also on the forum. Somebody said still no sound, picture. If you haven't got any sound and picture, try and refresh. There are others that are getting the sound, so obviously the sound and the picture is going out. Tony in UK says receiving me okay. Okay, I think it's about time we should start now.
Let's start from scratch.
And yeah. I'll do a new welcome then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start completely from scratch for those who ain't who listen to me, who weren't able to hear the intro. Just say this is basically our first lesson of the year, and we welcome you to exciting new year from Nolan and myself, where I'll be doing watercolors and Nolan will be doing the oils, and I'm going to be dedicating myself to watercolors for this whole year. And these 4 lessons here are basically set up for beginners. There's a tremendous amount of beginners that have said that they've never painted before. So I'm going to be starting in a fairly easy, relaxed way in which to get you started. So don't be afraid, don't stress, relax. We're here to have fun. And each lesson will have a little technique, and we will build up on that as we go along. It's a journey that we need to go together. Maybe along the line, I'm also still going to be learning things as we go, because one never knows enough. Doesn't matter how long you're along the road, there's always something new to learn. So I think that's about enough at the moment. So let's go in and start the session. Okay. Let's go over now to
Screen sharing.
Go to screen sharing, yes.
Leave the mouse, I'll handle that.
Okay.
Okay, now you can take a
Yeah. Right. Let's have a look at this one here. This is going to be in your as a download later on, but I'm just going to go through this very quickly. It's about 24 pages of an introduction. On the front cover you'll see one of my watercolor paintings, a big imperial sheet that is done on 300 grams per square meter, that's 140 pound paper, unstretched, and it's framed totally flat. So let's go through the legal bit of the writing, introduction. I want you to read this later on. I'm just going to give you an idea of what's ahead. And let's go back here a bit. It says here, what are you afraid of? You know, a lot of people think that in watercolors, once you've made a mistake, you can't fix it up. Well, that's not completely true. If you've got staining colors, you have a bit of a problem. But if you paint with non-staining colors, you can do a fair amount of fixing up. So don't be afraid of the watercolors. I'll demonstrate as we go along. Here's a little picture of a painting that I did in around about 1948 when I was still at school. It's a plein air painting, and 2 years after I started, there was nobody to teach me. There was nothing in the war years, and I had to battle on my own. But anyway, this is in 2 years that is what I managed to do. So it's just a little thing to see how long I've been along the road. But let's go through the next one. How to become a master artist. Big thing first, you need drawing, the craft of drawing. I cannot stress it enough that you must, the more you draw, the better you'll be able to paint, because there's so much involved. It's the absolute foundation to any part of the of the arts that you're going to be majoring in. Doesn't matter whether it's in oils or pastels or whatever. There's a little on the tonal ranges, details in a painting. What I'm showing you here is, let's go a little bit into a bit bigger. Let's go up a little bit. I want to show you a little bit more. Okay, so let's go down. Now that is a pen and ink wash, not pen and ink, and a watercolor wash. If I had to take the watercolor wash away, there's only a few little pencil marks in there, and the wash is just a few little dabs across the top. It makes it look as if there's lots and lots of detail, but we'll get into that later on. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you here is, don't battle and try and get too much detail into your painting, because your brain will fix all that up for you. Composition, let's go a little bit, go back to a smaller view. Oops, but too small. Let's go up here where at 75. There we go.
That one shows the whole page.
Yeah. Okay, from here, composition. I'm not going to. You can read all about that. Thing is, here, know your colors. The main thing I can stress here is get to know your color wheel. Very, very important to know your color wheel and learn it off by heart. Big thing. Learn to observe. See things. Often we look at things but we don't see it. Start training your observation. Another thing is get your attitude right. And I don't want to go too much into that right now. What you can do is to read through this. And here is, don't make excuses. That's part of the attitude, that you can't do anything. These are two oil paintings, but I've actually put them in here just to show you that you don't, if you are battling, you have lost your brushes, left them out. These two are done completely just with the finger. There's no brushes involved in this whatsoever in the oil painting, painted completely with fingers. And you can do the same with watercolors, and later on during the year I'll be showing you how we can be doing that as well too. So let's go back down a bit through, and then part of it, discover what motivates you. Just be yourself. Don't try and always imitate other people exactly. Copying is a good thing. That's how all the big masters trained. You can do it as well too, but try at some stage to do things on your own, and if you do that, then you're going to develop faster. There's a summary. We go into there. There's a section here on paper, how to get started. And these are a selection of my own papers that I use. I use from little blocks of paper. here right through to the different types, through to big large sheets that you see in here, big imperial size. And the most that I have, the biggest that I have there is 450 GSM, and that is almost like a thick cardboard. So let's go a bit further down, and it tells you all about papers, the paper types, the sizes, the makes, what the different qualities are, how it's all formed, and so forth. Then there's a bit of general information, and then a little bit of word of warning that when you're working on your paper, too much scrubbing can damage the surface. So okay, so now I'm going to go through into just a quick look at some of my paintings. These will be available for download. That is also imperial size, done on thick cartridge paper, believe it or not. This has to be stretched, otherwise it buckles like mad. But that's one. There's another big one, imperial size.
Start a little bit slower so the screen can catch up.
Yeah, okay. There's one that was done also in South Africa, up in the Maluti Mountains, just close to the Drakensberg. Also a full-size sheet. And yeah, it's fun doing these big ones as well. It's another watercolor painting that I did, not quite as large as a half-size sheet. I done it on a farmhouse out in the west coast of South Africa, there where they have all the wonderful flowers and stuff in near just south of Namibia. Typical little Cape cottage. This was taken from on the side of the road. Go down. There's a smaller one, little sketch. These ones here are about just slightly bigger than an A4 size. Small little sketches that are done preparatory for bigger paintings. You can see, have a look and see, there's very little detail in what it is, and yet they still make wonderful paintings. I've sold many, many paintings on this style. Here's another one of the Cape Cottage. You can look at all the lovely colors that you can add in and drop in as well too. You can see also, there's no trying to paint leaves and things. Yeah, we come to something interesting as well too. We do some other techniques which we will be also doing out during the year. I don't want to elaborate too much, otherwise I give some of the secrets away. Some of you who have been on the painting for some time may pick up what I've been doing there, but for those that are new, there's exciting stuff ahead. There's another one as well too, sort of different types of backgrounds. These are a lot of little paintings just to show you what you can do with watercolors. Set the owls.
Slowly.
Right, let's go back again. There's some owls. I did that as a set for for other people. That was an order, a commission that I got. And here are some flowers that I did, some of our own flowers that we had in our garden. The ones on the right is also some plein air sketches that we did out there in the rural areas. Go down a bit more. This is on the left-hand side is one of the bee eaters, beautiful birds, They make holes, they nest in the holes in the bank of a river. Middle is a fish eagle. On the right is the big black eagle. You see a lot of them around in the Drakensberg areas. And this one is just a close-up of the previous one, where you can see even the feathers, it looks comes out very well, but yet there's hardly any fancy detail in there. I know you can do super realism, but it's not always necessary. Okay, so from here, now let's go to our lesson proper. Let me just bring that down a little bit. All right, although these live online classes are primarily for watercolor artists and all the illustrations, demonstrations here are in watercolors, they are also of extreme importance to artists working in any other type of medium. So, we start off with the cosmos flowers. These are cosmos flowers that I photos that I've taken alongside the roads in South Africa. With plenty of them there, big fields full. And I want you to notice too, in today's one, we are not going to be painting any of these little ribbings. It's going to be a very easy way that's also very nice. I'm not going to go into super realism. There we got the type of the buds, and let's go a bit further down now. This will also be down for downloading. Just a little bunch of flowers there is just stuck into a yogurt cup with a background, so we can see the different types. Look at the different types of shapes. This one here looks like a complete propeller. And then we get the other ones that are all closed up, as we see, and then you've got the other ones that are starting to take some shape. And then also we'll go into the leaves there just now. Here you can see that, look at the different types of species. You got one here with this type, and then you got this one here which has got very much more broader petals coming in. All these different whites and the purples and the reds. Some a bit flatter than the others. Some a bit flatter than the others. This one here you can see is a bit, on the left hand side, is a bit more cup shaped. Right, this very top one, I want you to notice something. It's a dark red flower, but yet the underside is a very light pink. You can see on the very right hand side too, those red flowers have got that light pink underneath. So sometimes when you're painting these very dark ones and your drawing is showing the underside, remember to paint them this light pink to give them that they become as per the species. You won't see that so much under the pink or the white. Right, here we come to also something interesting. Here is the one we see completely from the side. And notice you've got this part here which you need to show up in your painting. Then, have a look. You'll find, because it's cup-shaped, the top bit, and this one here, the light is coming from the top right. But even then, this one here is the angle of the leaf is reflecting less light off, so it's going to show darker, whereas on the bottom side it's lighter. You can see this nicely on the bottom one here, where you've got your darker area up top here and the lighter area at the bottom. Now, depending on the light, sometimes it can be reversed, but in general, this is the way that you'll paint it, and that's the way we will be doing it in this coming exercise. Just a few more different here, these pink ones where you got them completely closed up. So you've got a tremendous amount of things. When you're doing your composition, you've got a choice. How are you going to do the leaves, the petals at least, one way or the other? Right, here we have a bowl of cosmos put in, and have a look at this one across here. You can see the dark on the top and the light on the bottom. This other one, which is facing a bit other way, has got the light on the top. You see this on the top right hand side here, and dark at the bottom. So it depends on the angle and where your light is coming from. And then I want you to notice that where cosmos is, if you're doing a bunch of cosmos, remember the center is also going to be quite dark, because you cannot see through it, and we're going to use that dark there to our advantage to show up the light petals. Right, here we come to something interesting as well too. I'll put this one in. So you can see the formation of the leaves. Now we won't be painting it exactly the same as this, but very impressionistic style, but yet nobody will notice the difference that is not exactly as in here. We'll come back to that later. Right, yes, the style that we're going to be painting in. Here, the background, we'll be starting off wet in wet. Bottom here, also wet in wet. It is your choice to whatever colors you want to use. You can use it very light colors. Not too light, otherwise your white flowers and your lighter pinks won't show up. You can make this very dark. You can make it whatever color you want. So we'll have a look and see what we're going to be doing in this course. It won't be exactly the same. As I said, wet in wet is a living color. Here, have a look at the leaves. It's just very, very quickly and impressionistic. You won't believe how quickly it can be done. And yet it comes in nice. So all these little buds are added in for fillers so that you can get that nice sort of an oval composition that's going in there. So you can use the template, you can change the color of the flowers around, you can turn the template around, trace it so you got another one, and then just to make it look completely different, you can change your buds and put them wherever you want to. You can rearrange your leaves so that you can do 4 or 5 or 6, 7 different paintings from one template, and each one will look different to the other one. And that's how I started my cosmos many, many years ago. Before I could, now I paint them and draw them in my sleep. But in that stage when I had selling a lot of them, I had to make improvise very, very fast. Okay, I'm going to be demonstrating that just now. Here is the chart. It's in your notes, where I want you to remember that flowers, cosmos, have got 8 petals. I have seen some with 5 petals. I've seen some with 7 petals, even 9 petals. Absolutely wrong. You don't want to be painting 1 or 2 hybrids. You want to be painting the cosmos on itself, and that is done on. And the way to do that is you draw the 1, then 2, and then 3 and 4. Do the opposites, and you get that in. Here I've shown you the different modes that they go in. And this is a very, very useful one. So if you want to be painting cosmos and designing your own composition, this is a thing to use. And you can turn this paper around and use this flower in all different types of positions for that. You can use this one for different positions. And here, the tips of the leaves, I see so many people give it like a sawtooth, which is absolutely wrong. It's this type of edging the tips of the petals. Study the photographs that are in your notes and you'll see. Right, let's go down a bit further. That is the template that was handed out to those who have just joined. Don't worry, the templates, this one is in your notes, and you can follow. The replays will be available in 2 or 3 days after the lesson, and they will be available for you to watch virtually any time you want to. Here are the instructions on what to do and how to set out your paper.
Just tell them we'll give the links to the notes after the class. Just tell them we'll hand out the links after the class.
Yeah, all the links to all these that I've been showing you now will be put onto the onto the website after the class. So just give us a time after the class is finished, and then you can go down and download them. Okay, so I think let's go now through to starting the classes. Right. Now I can get a pencil. And what we've done here, we had that other little chart, is when you're drawing a cosmos, let's do this. I usually set up a little circle, put a little circle inside there for the where the pollen and the stamens, everything is. And then what I do is I first do that and that. Then I'll do the opposite one. It looks like propellers across to there. And then I'll give it a little, it doesn't have to be exact, something similar to that. And then I'll add the filler ones in. And then you can start any one. You can start from 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do this one here, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got your 8 petals, and when you setting out your composition, what you need to do is to set out how many of these that you're going to need. Let's say we're going to you can practice from the charts. Let's say you've got one that's an oval. You got that. You got this. Got that shape there. You got a bit of the pollen sticking out. And don't forget this one here, you're looking at it side on. So you're going to have that, and then you come down towards the center, and there you've got that little bulge, and you got that. Then the other one will come out there. Don't forget you've got the bowl. So I'll take that one out here. And you're looking at the side on, you'll have another little one down there. You're not going to have too much detail because they are on their side. And then the other one will come up here. And so there you've got the other one will come into that area. So there you've got that. When we do the leaves, we'll be just doing complete flicks with a brush. That style. In between. So practice on the other charts, and let's go into the thing proper. Here is the template. print this out, and then to be able to transfer this now onto your paper, we need to make a carbon. But before we go on to that one, here I've already done my paper, which is the 12 inches by 16 inches, which is 305 millimeters by 406 millimeters. I've measured the 60 millimeters in here, which roughly is about 2 3/8 of an inch. In that one, it don't have to be absolutely exact. As long as you've got these ones and that one the same width, that one and that one the same width, this one and that one the same width. And then we stick the masking tape down on the outside edge of it nicely. Press it down. The most important part now, to stop the water from getting underneath this tape. Take the back of your thumb, turn around, and then rub on that edge fairly firmly. You don't have to do the whole lot, but right on that edge, up and down and across the other side and round the whole thing. And then this corner here is very important that you take that and really rub that in, because of that overlapping. If you don't do that, some of the paint will go, when it's watery, will go in, and you'll suddenly see a little strip across here, and then you've spoilt the object of putting this tape on and having your nice whites around all the way. And later on, when we finish this painting, I'll take this, I'll show you how to remove the masking tape. A totally different way. Too many people just pick it up and pull it. If you do that, you're also going to the possibility of tearing some of the paper is very great. And if you do take it off slowly, and if it starts tearing, be careful. I'll show you. We put it away, and then if it starts tearing and you've got a place, take the back of your thumb, and there where it has been torn, also burnish that paper with your thumb. And what you're doing with your thumbnail, what you're doing is then you're putting the fibers back in place, as it were, and you don't have any rough patches. Sometimes it's hard to even see where that damages. Sometimes it can be inside as well too. When you take your masking fluid off not properly, then you burnish that as well, and you have less likelihood of the paint going straight into your paper, because this paper has got sizing on it to reduce the absorption into your paper. It's just enough there that there'll be that slight absorption into the paper. Okay, so let's take, when I've printed it, this one is quite easy, because the ink, or if you made a photostat copy of it as well too, on normal photocopy paper, all the lines show nicely. You can see this at the back, all shows up. But if you can't see it, and you've done a tracing from something else, put this with another piece of paper over the top, tape them together, put it against a window, trace it around, and then you'll have something similar to this one. Now we're going to turn this around. What I've got here, I've got a very soft pencil. I've got a 6B, and we're going to make now a carbon paper. So I'm going to go, and don't do this. A lot of people just do that type of thing and think that's enough. But you need to cover the line, each line there completely, and go more over the line than too much, because sometimes you can think you're on the line, but you're next to it, and when you do the transferring, nothing will be there. When you've got smaller things like this one here, you can just cover the whole lot. But when you've got bigger areas, for argument's sake, like that, what I normally do is I do this across there. Quicker, you don't waste so much pencil. So let's do this quickly. Just make sure that you go all over the lines. Enough detail yet just to cover. I'm wearing out my pencil fast here. Right, I'm wearing out that, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to sharpen my pencil, but I'm going to show you a nice way how to sharpen it. Is I don't just sharpen this way, because what happens, soft lead, that can hook in and just disappear. What I do is I take the craft knife and I hold it, and I just actually I've got much more control with my thumb. So what I'll do is this, I can actually hold this very loose and just guide it, and my thumb will do all the work for me. You can see that. I'm not even using my right hand to do any of the on this one. You can use it, bring it into a nice sharp point, any type of point that you need. This is also demonstrated in the Let's Draw course. I think that's enough for us here at the moment. So let me just, whenever you finish your knife, back in, otherwise accidents can happen. Let me just put that nicely out of the road. Thank you. And now we can carry on. So let's carry on here now. Now we can go non-stop. Some people go and then they cover the whole, take time and effort to cover the whole painting. That's actually, it's a waste of time and a waste of pencil. And sometimes they use a too soft a pencil as well too. So when they make the tracing, they can hardly see the lines. So use a soft pencil. You have much less problems later on and frustrations when you suddenly find that you have to start doing it all over twice again. When I was younger, my father always told me I was very lazy. You're always trying to do things you're trying to do the easy way, but it always works out that you have to do it twice. So, my sister Carol's husband, Saki, he's very good at woodworking. And he's got sign up similar to sort of more or less, he says, measure 3 times, cut once. Very good to remember that one. In other words, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're doing it right the first time, double check. Save a lot of trouble later on. If you do your own framing, making mat boards, and you're doing your measuring, check and recheck before you do anything. I'm going to put some random strokes down there, so let's do that. Okay, if you want to check whether you've got everything right, you can actually hold this up that way against the window so that the light is coming from the back, and you can see whether you've missed any of the parts. But this one here, because I can see right through, not a problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to center this sort of over the area in the open area. I'm going to use some masking tape. And this is very, very important. Stick these corners down. Because if you try and hold it by hand and this thing shifts, there's no way that you're going to center and get it back to where it's supposed to be. Now, what I do is, to know whether I've left any of the lines out, easy. You can use a 2H pencil for argument's sake, or a ballpoint pen and go over it. Yeah, I've got a red pen. And by doing that, I can go over a line. I can see whether I've missed any lines at all. So let's do that. I'm pressing reasonably hard. So I'm going to do the here. Another way is, if you want to check whether it's coming through, pick up your paper, make sure that that part there doesn't come loose, and there you can see the tracing coming through onto our paper. So let's carry on here quickly. Is everybody following still okay? And you'll notice too that even here I'm not even trying to follow the lines 100% as I've got them, because each flower petal is totally different. So if you make a little change in here, it's going to not affect your painting one iota. As long as I've got the basic shape. Right, let me come in close. As soon as I finish this here, I'll take a little break and see what questions there are for me there on the chat box before we go into the masking fluid stage. There's a few little stems coming through, just a few random. Before you take this off, check to see whether you've got everything. I can see now I've missed a little line in there. Sometimes they can be very important ones. I've missed something in there. Oh, it didn't come out properly. Okay, there's this other one going into here. Yes, I've missed this top one. You see, what you can do is you take this and you flip backwards and forwards. Can you see what's happening? Look, there's the empty space. See there? You do that, you pick up very quickly whether you've left anything out. So let's do that quickly. I didn't realize I'd left that one out. Good job I did, because I can show you nicely now how these things work. Because you think you've got everything in, you take it off, and it could be a real important part of your drawing, and then to get it back in again can be quite problematic. Let's check now. There we go. A piece in here. There. I think I've got everything ready for there. So now I'm happy with that. I'm going to take that off. Now, if you've got some real delicate details that you need to do, sometimes you may come with not with a 6B that I've got here, but maybe with a 2H pencil, and then very lightly go over some of these lines before you do any watercolor work at all. For the simple reason is that what it is that you transferred onto here is actually in powder form, and it's not very fixed onto your drawing, your paper. So you may need to take a pencil and very lightly go over some of these ones here so that you don't lose them when the water and the washing goes over. Okay, let's see if there what any special questions there are at the moment. Any special good to remember not to press your hand down on the pattern as you trace. You'll get a smudge. Yes, if you're pressing down too far on there, you can get real big smudges on. Let's see what else. Okay, it says, better late than never. Good to be back. Any special questions so far? Is this the technique so you don't get a groove in the paper? Well, let's put it this way. If you are using a ballpoint pen and you really press hard, what you will get a groove in your paper. Now, that you don't want to do, because when you get a groove in your paper, and that is a technique that we will be demonstrating later on, is that when you've got water in wet, and you've got there, and you actually put a groove into it, the pigment goes into it and settles inside and leaves you a nice darker line. So if you're going to do this type of tracing and you've got areas here where you don't want that dark line, form like an outline, all you do is you press just hard enough to transfer the image onto here. So you don't want to press that hard, just hard enough so that your image is transferable and that you can see it nice. How to download the picture of the cosmos. The picture of the cosmos, that'll be after the class. We'll be setting up some links where you can download all the PDFs that I went through earlier on. Will the tracing show through the washes? If it's a soft like that, what happens is when you come with your brush, and you can actually wash some of it away, but don't be too, as long as you haven't got a very dark outline. You'll be surprised how much outlining in a paper, in a painting still can be shown without becoming absolutely obtrusive, and a lot of the times people won't even see it. A lot of artists actually let pencil marks show in their paintings. I've often done that as well too, and it's just different techniques and different ways. Some artists don't do it, some do it that way. The nice thing about art is there's nothing that is wrong. It's just different ways of doing things. Okay, is it okay to use tracing paper? Yes, not a problem at all. All I did was here is that to show you that from your notes, that there you can just make a copy or print out this particular page and use it as it is now. But if you'd use that chart like I showed you a little bit earlier on, all right, this is like what I've showed you just now. Let's say I've drawn that. You print out the chart that is in your notes with all the different positions that I've given. You take that and you take that one and have a look. If this one, like this one here, is facing that way, turn the paper like that, and then do your drawing. Because you can draw straight onto here as well. I very seldom make paintings. I draw straight on, like I did here, onto my paper, and then I paint off from there. And if you want to do another one that is facing downwards on the other side of your arrangement that you do, that, got here, and then copy that in that arrangement. So with those other ones, you can use that one piece of paper and you can make tons and tons of drawings, no problem at all. And after a while, you get used to it and you can draw. This is the type of thing what you need to do if you're drawing flowers. Study your flowers, make up a basic sheet like I've done for that particular type of flowers, and it'll save you endless trouble in the future. Okay, so let's... I've missed where I can get the class notes and templates. Are they available now? No, they're not available now. They will be available after the class. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I've got some masking fluid, and we're going to mask out all the areas where we want to keep our painting of the thing. One of the cardinal rules of watercolor, I can't stress it enough, and write it in big letters. Plan, your whites, WHITES. Print it on your forehead. Write it all over your house. If you don't do that, you're going to have problems. You can use masking fluid if you're good enough and you know that you're not going to have any problems. Then you can paint around it, and in the future we will be doing that. We will be painting around. Now I'm going to show you something very interesting. I've been using these brushes that I paint with for years, and I use them for putting masking fluid on, and you'll see artists and articles don't use your new brushes. If you use a brush, you can throw it away because it's damaged. No. If you look after your brush and you use it the right way, you can use it over and over and over again. This is something that I went on a watercolor painting holiday many years back with Dale Elliott in South Africa, and he showed us how to use this system here with the bar of soap. Work that into a very stiff lather, and work it into the hairs, right up into the ferrule. And what actually happens is, by doing this, your masking fluid does not get into your brush, it stays on the outside. Okay, now I'm going to start up here. I'm going to dip that into there, and you can see I've got masking fluid on there. And don't be too shy of putting masking fluid on, or rather a little bit too thick than too thin. Otherwise you're going to have paint coming through in the area where you don't want it. So let's put that there. Now I'm going to start putting some of the leaves. Careful along the edges.
Sapphire Lynn is asking, can you use a Conti pencil with watercolors for transferring a picture?
You can. I mean, you can use pastels as well too. But the only thing is the pastels have got they're too dusty. I've personally never used a Conti pencil. You get them in different colors, and there's only one thing, is to experiment and see how it works. Okay, we've come to a stage now where I've done that. Now, if I go too much further than this, I'm going to lose the advantage of the soap. So what I've done is I've washed my brush in water, cleaned it up again, pick up where I put my soap. Here it is. Going to take some more soap. Get it in, and now you can put the soap here, so I've got it. nearby. You can come back again and no problem. If you forget to do this, what happens is you start getting masking fluid getting into your brush, and a lot of people throw it away, but you don't have to throw it away. What you do is, you got any lacquer thinners in the workshop, you can use that. That will dissolve the masking fluid and bring the brush back to normal again. There's a lot of different ways that you can use. So let's do that. The big thing is, don't forget to use the soap. I'm going to show you another way as well too, as soon as I finish this flower, because by now the soap is disappearing off my brush. And if you work too long, what happens on the tip of your brush, you'll find a little blob coming on of the hardened masking fluid. So instead of now using the soap, I can go in and dip it straight in. That I often use that way as well too. So let's go in here.
Lenobi is asking, what kind of soap bar is that? Anything special?
Yeah, that particular one is still what I bought from South Africa. But what it is, it's not really something special. It's a type that sunlight. You get them green, you can get them in red, etc. It's the type of what I use is the one they use for washing clothes in. But you can use virtually any type of soap, as long as you can work it up into a nice thick lather. All right, now I've got this far. I'm going to clean the brush again back into water, because this is water soluble. You can clean it off with water. So I go back in again, and so I don't see where a lot of these other artists come along and tell everybody that you damage your brushes and you can never use them over again. I mean, I've been doing this brush here for over 20 years already, and I'm still using it. And I'll tell you what, I'll show you, I'm going to be using it to paint with at the same time. Oh, we're becoming close now, and soon we'll start painting, come to the real exciting part. Right there, the flowers are done. Let me clean my brush. Make sure all the masking fluid is out. There's my brush. Absolutely nothing wrong with it, ready for painting. Okay, now I'm going to get my rigger brush. Just wet that. I'm going to dip it in here. Now I'm going to start putting in some of the stems, just very few little ones in between, especially here where we have the darker areas. Careful you don't have the blobs on the end. There's a few, because you've got inside here leaves that are going in and across, and some of the other stems that are coming down. Right, let's do some of these ones here where you're going into the darker areas. I think that's enough. So let's clean that. And I think that's now ready for the hairdryer. Any questions so far? Let's see, is there any other way to avoid using any kind of masking fluid at all? You can. That roll, that, yeah, that one there, yeah, thanks. You got this transparent tape. Remember Nolan in these world class with the flowers showed you how you can use that covering for books or stuff. You can use this. It's clear packaging tape. You can put that down on your paper, but then you got to be careful because then you can now use put it down, and then you have to, once you do that, you've got to use a craft knife, and then you can cut out the areas that you want to leave. To me, it's a bit finicky, but it's not impossible. Or if your hands are steady enough, and you know you're not going to make a mistake, you can leave the masking fluid out completely, and you can come along and start putting in all your wet in wets. But sooner or later, something's going to happen. It's going to run over into this area, and when it runs over into an area where you need a white flower, although you can do a lot of fixing up in watercolors, it's quite often you never get back to the absolutely pristine white that you have on your paper, and it's the white of the paper that gives you the transparency and the translucency that is so popular with watercolorists, and is what makes your painting really stand out. So you don't want to lose the white of your paper. There are different ways, but this is just one of the ways. Okay. Right, let's just... Any other? You should always choose the best quality of these grades. Avoid student watercolor colors. Right. You know, I always advocate, even if you're in a learning class, is to use the most expensive paints that you can afford. Not necessarily go for the very expensive, but the most expensive paints that you can afford. And I'll tell you the reason for it as well. The same thing with the paper. And yet also with oils as well too. Don't go for your cheapest student qualities. They call students qualities not for nothing. Is that when you are learning, who knows, in that learning process, even as a beginner, you can produce a masterpiece. And what happens if you're using paints that are of low quality, you find that after a while it fades away. You know, the paints I'm using, I've got pans. You see them just now, and I'm using most of mine is Aquafine on tubes. Is made by Dollar Rowney, which is the UK firm, high quality. Paints, Aquarelle Fine, 8 milliliters, costs about $6 here in New Zealand. So you'll have to convert that for whatever you want to see there. You can see the Dollar Rowney Aquafine, and this particular one is Lizard and Crimson onto there. And I vary between the tube and I don't think I have any of the others here, but of the pans, you can get the pans and the half pans. Yeah, you'll see just now is when we go on to over here, you can see I've got half pans, alizarin crimson, there's cadmium red, there's orange, and so we go cadmium yellow. I've got yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, light red, and viridian in these ones here. And then in my pans, if Nolan can just shoot up to this little area. I'm not going to go through the whole lot, but what I've done here, while he's got that, is I've got little containers. They can sort of loose from each other, and you can see on the side that they can slip into and form a big unit. And what I've done is in here, I've but alizarin crimson. I've put all these up so that when I'm painting, you can see the different colors that I've got. And inside here, what I've done is, maybe you can see through down the bottom there, is I've put a little dollop of alizarin crimson inside there. So I'll be using either this or those during my painting, and it doesn't matter whether you're using this or that. A lot of people prefer this because it stays softer longer, and to them it works a bit easier. Others work with these. To me, it's immaterial. I work with them both. Okay, so right, let's start now. I'm going to open up, and I'm going to open up a few of these here, and I'm going to open just those few there at the moment, and I'm going to use between that and here. Now, something very handy is if you want to do washes and want to pick up paints. If you want to pick up a paint, there's a way of doing it where if you put this, dip it into the water and you pick it up, find all this going to just drop out. If you put it in the water, turn it sideways, you find you can carry a load of water that into here. So if I pick that up here, and that you can, if no one can, you can actually see, if I pick it up, you can see it starting, you can see it dripping off. Now if I do the same thing and I pick it up and I hold it sideways, now look what happens. There's absolutely no dripping whatsoever. I can take all that and put that and load that into the pan to get the water that I need. So I can pick it up, scrape it off, pick it up, scrape it off, pick it up. Now, when we're going to do the wash, you need to mix enough paint that you know you're going to cover the area that you want to, because remember there's drying times, and you don't want your paint to dry on you very quickly, otherwise you're going to get hard lines where you don't want them. All right. So I'm going to go in, keep the same, more or less the same colors as the others. So I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson. Let's take it out here. Put some into here. Don't forget, when you make your mix, you need to make it darker than what you need it to show on your painting, because when it dries much lighter. So I'm going to take them. All right, let's take some of this again. So I'm going to show you I can go I'm purposely going to go in between all the different colors. So let's go here and make it a bit more on the bluey side. And then make a nice little bluey purple. Yes, this is a nice color. I've got to use a little bit of paper, and I can test to see the color that I want. So actually, I'm going to do something quickly. It'll save a lot of trouble. I'm going to paint the leaves in first. And the reason for painting the leaves is that I'm going to paint straight over the masking fluid, so that you get, when the leaf goes from one side behind the flower to the other side, you get it lining up properly. So there's different ways of making dark greens. I'm going to do a little bit of a different way. I'm going to take some Viridian, make some Viridian, and if you want it nice and dark, you need less water. So now I'm going to darken that up. I'm going to take a little bit of light red into that and make them. Remember, you darken up your colors, shadow colors. You use your opposite. If it's green, opposite in your color wheel is red. Now this is light red. It's got a little bit of the other, so it's going a little bit more on the darker side. So this is almost like a dark browny green. I'm going to take my rigger brush.
The guys are asking, what is this blue here?
That is alizarin crimson and cadmium red. Sorry, alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue. And that you can mix depending on whether you go from one side, one to the other to get whether it's a bluey purple or a reddy purple. In other words, a maroon side. So what I'm doing is I'm picking up some of this green, and if I switch over onto this side here now, and then I'm using my rigger brush onto there, and I'm just going to do some of those, and I'm going to do some flicks out there. And then I'm just going to randomly just put flicks. And you can, a lot of these leaves are going to be coming from behind, out this way, out that way. There's a lot of leaves, one behind the other, so you're not going to see each individual leaf on its own. As you can see, I'm just giving an impression of leaves. Some of these are all behind the others, some sticking out this end here. I'm doing it now because if you had to try and do all these and from behind the other one, you've got the flower, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have some of these lines suddenly going over your flower, and it's going to destroy your feeling that you've got. So I just go here straight over the I think that's enough there for the moment. A few little... Right, what I need to do now is I need to use the hair dryer quickly. Right. I'm going to take my big brush and I'm going to start with this color. There's another way you can wet your whole paper, but I'm just going to come along and I'm going to just start adding some of these colors in randomly in different places. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of my ultramarine blue.
Okay, everybody's asking, why have you painted the leaves before the background?
It's a good question. I didn't think. I didn't think. I don't normally do that, but somewhere along the line I wasn't thinking properly at the moment. Busy painting out of my normal type of situation. So it doesn't matter. It's just give me some ideas there, and
It's giving you some
leaves.
in the background.
I was just going to say that. Give me some leaves in the background.
We'll chalk that one up to a happy accident.
That's what they call happy accidents. Let's drop some of these in. Oh, let's just have a little touch of light red, just to give some bit of warm color in the background. Some other flowers or whatever it is around the other side. So here I'm going to start putting some of the green in here, coming down more to the earthy side. Little touch of
Claude is asking, is the hairdryer on hot or just blowing air?
No, it's on a medium heat. If you just use cold air, what happens? It'll dry, but it'll just take a much longer time to dry. Sometimes, if I'm in a real hurry, I'll put it on hot. But the thing is, you've got to watch it, because if you put if your paint water is still or your paint is too watery, and you put the hairdryer on, it's going to blow paint all over the place. When you paint with this white, make sure that you don't leave a little white gap, because when we take the tape off, we need to make sure that. Now you see, with the tape on there, this does buckle a little bit. So, but when it dries, it'll dry completely flat. So let's take a bit more of the earthy color into this area. I'll come back and add some darker color later on. Just going to make sure that there's color right to the edges of all of these flowers. So you got that, shows the outline. Just putting some of this down into here. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right. What actually happens is, I'm going to now deliberately do something which will show you what happens is, when you add paint that is more watery to the one that you've got here, it will form what they call cauliflowers. And be careful, because that can, you see, there's a little start here already of one of those. Now, my paint is here at a very slight angle, maybe about 10 degrees, so that any of the paint that goes is going down, so I'm not pooling into little hollows. Now I'm going to pick up some of this, and I'm going to make it much wetter than normal, and I'm going to drop it in here. And see what happens. Because quite often what happens, it leads that, it pushes all, what it does is it pushes, you can see it starting, is gathering all the pigment and taking it into an area. So let's all right. A lot to do with your painting is to see also the condition of the water. Sometimes you need to see that this water here is either wet, where in other areas you need to see that the shine is almost disappearing, then you can add paint in, because then it's going to spread too far. Other times you need to see that the shine has disappeared, and then you can add other things in which will not give you a hard edge, but will give you a nice, softer line. Okay, see, there's the cauliflower forming there now in that little area. Can you see what's happening? It's run all the way down and pushing in there's the cauliflower forming. Can you look? Can you see there? Now, often you don't want that. So, let's see whether I can fix that one up. I've taken the water off my brush so it's dry, and I'm going to just touch the ends and see whether I can stop it. Not always successful. Not really. See, all I'm doing is I'm making a little bit of a whiter spot. But at least it doesn't give you that real cauliflower effect. Okay, I'm going to use my hairdryer again now. That's dry enough. Now I'm going to be mixing some more of that very dark green with the light red and Viridian. Light red and Viridian, you can see it's like a dark browny green, and I'm not making it too watery, because what I want to do now is here I'm going to start darkening up this little area. Remember when I meant earlier on when we have that bunch of flowers together? All that is going to be dark. So I'm just going to bring some of that into there. And make some of it really dark. Looks a mess at the moment, but you'll see just now when the masking fluid comes off, it'll be a big difference. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take a sharp edge of that one here and just push out a couple of little stems. I think that's dark enough at the moment. So I need to get this very dry before I can take the masking fluid off. Oh, okay. Excuse me. When I started to put the dryer on, you can actually see the paper flattening out back to its normal position as it dries out. It dries flat. Hopefully this is dry enough now for me to take the masking fluid off. And what I'm doing is very easy way. For years ago, I used to rub everything off my fingers and get everything off. And I tell you what, I had no fingerprints left. It was as smooth as anything. You couldn't even move paper or anything. So what I do now is I take some masking tape like this and then put it and it pulls it off. Also, if your paper, see, I've got some of those, masking fluid didn't go cover the paper properly. I was a bit too much of in a hurry. Also, be careful when you pull this off that your paper must be 100% dry, otherwise it lifts the fibers of the. Whew, look at that. Some of the flakes of paint coming off. Let me take another little piece of. Where's my masking tape here? Let me just carefully wipe this. Where's my hand? There. You can always feel if there's any masking fluid left over by running your fingers over, and your fingers, very sensitive, will soon tell you. Okay, now let's go straight through to the painting. And I'm going to
check your battery for me, Mark's battery.
It still shows full.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some pink flowers first. So I'm going to take some alizarin crimson and I'm going to just put it in that area there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to decide now which of these buds are going to be pink and which are going to be white and which are going to be red. As you can see, I'm just putting in the very light color in first. And right, I'm going to carefully paint this whole thing in except there where the pollen is. Bring this across here. Use the lightest color first. All right. Let's make this one a white one, similar to what we had on the other side. So I'm going to paint this in here. And I'll leave that center. This is almost like paint by numbers at the moment. I think I'll make that one a nice dark red. first of all, the light is going to be coming from the top right-hand side. I'm going to make it that the light is coming from this way across there like that. We need to know that to know where our shadows and stuff are coming from. So let's make this one also a nice dark red. So that means the underside of that one is going to be a light pink into this area. And to get that dark red, I'm taking some alizarin crimson. There's a bit here. A little bit of water in there. I'm going to add a little touch of cadmium red to it. And let's do this. Up here. This one, I'm going to make a red flower here too.
Sanvilla is asking, what size brush are you using for the flowers?
This one hasn't even got a number on, but it's about a size 4. I can also, it doesn't, the brush size doesn't really matter. Let me take a bigger one here. I've used these so much, all the numbers have disappeared. No, this one is a size
8.
It's a size 8. Right, let's use this one.
This is a number 4. The one you've got in your hand is a number 4.
Yeah, no, it's going to be more like a 6. It's a little bit too... So let's mix some more of this here. A little bit of red into it. I'm just going to darken up the top end. See, here I'm using a number 8 brush. All I do is, it depends on, you use the tip of the brush. Yeah, I'm going to...
So it's almost like you use a brush that's size that's comfortable for the area you're painting in.
That's it. In other words, use the biggest brush that you can. Keep away from the very small brushes. If the smaller the brush, you tend to fiddle. See, there's what I mentioned. There's the dark, because it's this way, and you've got darker area here, and you've got a lighter area there, with the light is coming from that side, shade, and you've got the light. See, if you do that towards the light, and as I'm doing it over like that, you get that cup effect. So I'm going to leave that one there. Let's keep this one here, a nice little red flower here too, a nice darker one. It's dried a bit there now, so I can come next to it. Always not forgetting the center of the flower. And then you got the little pieces of in between that define the different leaves. Now this is a very light pink flower. Now there's not much darker, and what I'm doing is I'm going to just add some darker value to the top here. Also give you that cup shape. and I'm not trying to put in those little ribs, but work them in this way so that if there are any lines, that the lines are in the right way. So in other words, you've got some lines, darker lines in between. And there's a lighter pink there. And then let's put a red bud up top here. I'll come back into those just now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to a white flower. Now what actually happens with a white flower is you have that a little bit too red. Add a bit more blue here. I want to get that. Let's test it. That sky reflection in the white. So I'm now going to carefully just add some of this light bluey purple in there. And leave a bit of whites around the edges there because you do get that. Let's pick a bit of it here. And I'm going to make it just a little bit darker as it comes to the center of the flower to give you that cup effect. So let me get it dry. While that is drying, I'm going in somewhere else. I think I'm going to start now. Adding. I'm going to take some yellow ochre, or you can also use some burnt sienna. And then I'm going to add it here into that little piece where they've got the center of the flower. So you can see now things are starting to take some shape. These are ones in the cross there. Let me take this other brush. I'm going to take some cadmium yellow. And I'm going to put some yellow into some of these ones. You'll see just now. Is it closer to the sun side? And a little bit brighter, a little bit. I don't want to get into there yet. That's still a little bit too wet. But I can take some of the yellow ochre, and I can put some in on this side. Sun coming from this side, showing up some of the reflections down here. A little bit down into there. On the side there where there's no the shadow side. This one here. Right, let's come back to that one there just now. I'm going to just darken up this other flower with a bit of cadmium red.
Slow when you're mixing your colours, please, so that I can show everybody.
Yeah, okay. What I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of some of my cadmium red, but while that is still a little bit wet, and then I'm going into the flower, and I'm going to put a bit of that red into there. And I'm going to do the same on this side here now. I'm going to just darken up that side there. in this side here. Just dropping in some darker colors on the shadow sides. Okay, that's starting to dry there now. So I'm going to take some cadmium yellow, add into that white flower. While it's there, take a little bit of yellow ochre. That down the bottom. And I'm going to lift out some of this color here. In other words, what I'm doing is I'm on the cloth taking some of the water off. That I'm going to stay as it is because that is in the deep shade. I'm going to add a bit more of the yellow ochre down the bottom to give it its shade, the molding, because these things stand quite a bit proud into there. I'm going to make this one also bud for a white flower. Let me take a little bit more. Oh, too blue. Let me just lift it off. Give this one also a few nice little white buds. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the hairdryer on quickly. Okay, now I'm going to start pulling it all together. So I'm going to start work from light to dark. Now I'm going to use some of the quite dark colors. I'm going to take my alizarin crimson and with very little water, I'm going to mix on the side here. Then I'm going to take some ultramarine blue. I want to make a real dark violet, crimson violet. Let me just test that. There, a little bit more red. Take a bit of cadmium red into there, just get a little bit more nice maroon color. Okay, now what happens? We got the deep shade now underneath. So let's start with this one here, and I put a bit of a deep shade there. Underneath here. And then there's a few tiny little dots in between that will, and the light's coming from this side. You see how it's starting to come together now. Put that in there, a few tiny little dots in part of the pollen. I actually want to use a smaller brush to do that. Here too, you've got this coming in there. This one here got quite a bit underneath that area. See what there and there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of this and gently work it up like a little shadow area. So there's your hard area and a soft area. So in this little area here, very, very soft. I'm sort of just dabbing it a little bit, touching it a bit to give you that little bit of a softer area there in the shade, in that hollow area. And in the, it takes over there also a darker color, and I'm going to get some shadows area here in the buds. Really dark down here. Get that soft area into there. Nearly forgot this one here. A bit darker. Softened it a bit too much. Okay, now I'm going to mix some real dark green again. But this time with much less water than I had just now. You see the leaves, you can still see some of those leaves out there. I'm going to take my rigger brush, and we're going to start putting the little this is now all tying it all together now. You see, I'm not trying to be too detailed. You can obviously work a little bit neater than what I've done here at the moment. Don't forget, I'm working against time. But the thing is, I wanted to show you at least the techniques in using them. See, now I'll take a little bit of my cadmium yellow, and I'm going to just give a bit of a yellow tinge. Just sort of rub it over the top, as it were. And run some of this darker green sort of in that a bit more of the green. Mustn't just have the white there, must have, just cover that white with a colour. Run across. See, this is where I should have actually done those darker leaves beforehand, but what we do is we just run some of them across here.
Linda says your happy accident with the leaves has given the painting extra depth and looks good.
Yeah, these heavy accidents, I tell you what, you'll always get them. The thing is to capitalize on them. Yeah, with watercolors, I love watercolors. I started off with them, and it looks like soon I'll be doing a lot more than I've been doing for years. And you're going to be the benefits of it as well too, because I'm going to be learning with you at the same time. Let's add a few of those in. What's that look like?
Let's zoom out and take a look.
Okay. I think we come to put the hairdryer on, and at the same time we can take the masking tape off. Okay, now's the trick. I use my hairdryer to take the masking tape off. And the reason for that is I soften the gum that's sticking here onto the paper. When the gum is softened, it comes off easier, and it's less likelihood of taking and ripping the paper off. So you see there it starts here. So, and what I do is I pull away from the, let's do that. I'm going to put that on. Another thing is, while I'm pulling it off, my eye is always on that little corner. My eye is always on that little corner in here to check to see whether any paper is starting to rip. If it's starting to rip, then you could be very much more careful in maybe come from the other side and pull it up, but you pull it away so that if the paper rips, it rips that way and not into your painting. Let's go. Yeah, just want to get it in here first. Let's get this. Put the mat in first. There we go. Can you see it's not exactly the same as the other one, but that's what makes it nice and interesting. You can make the background darker than you need, lighter than you need, or whatever your case may be. But there, in a nutshell, is painting, and I hope that when you start this one, you have lots of fun. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. A lot of mistakes, and even the one that I've got there now being done fast, but that sometimes those little mistakes gives you character to the painting. So I hope you have enjoyed this class and take away a lot of the hints and tips that I've given you. There's lots more on its way, and get out your brushes, get your paints, lay them out nicely, get your paper. Don't worry about stretching. If you use your 300 GSM paper, as you can see, it turned out 100% flat, no problem. And I think before I close off, I just want to have a quick look at the chat box and see if there's any of the last few questions before we sign off the session. Right, let's see. How far the painting, the hairdryer held? Well, depends. Not too close. Otherwise, what happens, you not only damage your painting, but you can damage the hairdryer as well too, because that hairdryer needs a bit of a flow going through it. And if you're putting too much of a back pressure, that can happen. In actual fact, on the hairdryer that I'm using, I did that once, and I've got a bit of heat damage onto it, not easily seen. So just what is comfortable. That is your best bet. Let's see. Lynn says, "Well, Dennis, you made that look easy, very beautiful." Karen says, "Looks good. When I go to do it, I bet it is not easy at all." Well, no, it's it's that in that little thing that's going to be for you for your attitude. Go with the attitude that doesn't matter what it is not as difficult as it's made out to be. If you keep on telling yourself it is not difficult, you'll find that after a while it won't be difficult at all. That is the big thing. It's your attitude. Go with that attitude. I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it work, and you find that you will make it work. Have a positive attitude. Right, I'm going to take a look in 20 seconds at Tony in the UK. You don't want to sign it, Dennis? Yes, I'll I'll sign it just now. I don't want to take too much time. Is all the tape off yet? Can I look? Yes, you can, Tony. It's all look. No problem at all. Marion says it's been a great demo, Dennis, and well filmed by Nolan. You're getting very slick with your productions. Yeah, thank you very much. And hopefully that as we go and we sort ourselves out, we're still in learning curves, especially with our new setup here at the moment, with everything, even myself, I'm not quite au fait with everything. It's a learning curve. So as we go along, it's going to get better and better. Teresa says, it doesn't look so scary anymore. Good show. That's what I like to hear. Paperbag says, thank you very much. Linian, how nice. Well, thank you very much. Val Webb says, a masterpiece, Dennis, lovely. Well, as we go, we're going to be learning more. And then from next week, we're going to look at tonal ranges, what the tonal ranges does to your painting, because your tonal ranges is very, very important. In other words, your lights and your darks. And very interesting is that we're going to be doing a painting that is going to be done in monochrome. In other words, a single painting with a single color. So you can see your lights and your darks. Once you can master that, you can master your paintings, because it's on your tonal range, not your colors, that your painting hangs. So I think from my side, and from Nolan's side, we've had a great time putting this together today, and we're glad that you're all here. We had a number of people. Oh, I tell you what, it made me scared when I saw the number of people. But I'm glad that you've all made it, and happy painting, and enjoy yourself. That's a big thing. From my side and Nolan's side, God bless. See you later. Cheerio.
Hey, Basket TV!